state did provide all the information about the laboratory, let's say the laboratory DNA that analysis was not related to genealogy DNA. Am I mistaken about that? What are you saying that they didn't provide something?
Your Honor, in our third motion itself, we had a section called Standard Lab Discovery, and that has to do with other DNA profiles found at the scene. They have provided full discovery for the sheet, the DNA found on the night sheet, but not the other 3 unidentified male DNA samples to the within the house, one from outside of the house.
All right. So, if I'm understanding your question there, or your assertion that we're talking about 3 potential analysis of DNA that was not provided to you, but that has no connection to Mr. Kobe.
Correct.
Any response?
Your Honor, we didn't realize this was going to be an issue today. We had given the defense everything that we received from the lab. They've asked for DNA workups on other people. To the extent that they don't have them, they weren't done. We can't produce something that doesn't exist. We provided everything. There's one outstanding lab report that relates to the forensic examination by the lab personnel of the crime scene itself. We received today. That's the only outstanding lab report. Everything else, along with all the notes, is what there is, and it's been provided to the defense. They're hoping that there's something else there. It's not there.
Welcome back to my Mental Health and Crime channel. My name is Huda London. This is the case of the Idaho quadruple murders. I'd like to start by thanking all my subscribers, my viewers, for all your kindness and your support. May the 4 victims rest in peace, condolence to their families, and may the correct justice be served. Last month, in December 2023, on the 8th of December, I believe, the court, judge asked the prosecution, the state, to hand over the 3 male unidentified DNAs that was taken in the crime scene. We heard the prosecutor and we heard the defense attorney, Ann Taylor, asking for those evidence. She said it hasn't been submitted. And she said it was clearly 3 male DNAs, 2 inside the house, that's inside 1122 Kings Road, and 1 outside, that's the GRUB. Nothing has come out of that. We heard the answer that Mr. William Thompson, the prosecutor, gave. He clearly said that, how can we give something that we don't have? He said it was submitted to the lab, but we haven't got the answers. And he said there's 1 report that we're still waiting for that we still haven't received. I expected judge to ask him follow-up questions, like if the 3 male DNAs was found in the crime scene, what happened to it? And the judge should have asked him to go and get a new update from the labs, because the crime scene, everything that goes out of the crime scene, the prosecutor would know about it, since he's the one who's the prosecution against this case. Nothing has happened. We can see those 3 male DNAs will never come. And what surprises me more is I believe there's more than 3 male DNAs, because look at it this way. 8 hours later, according to the affidavit and the PC, Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk summoned up friends. Now, when you summon up friends, and we have the 911 call where they said multiple people spoke to the operator, the 911 operator. That was the chief himself who said that. So I assume multiple people were on the crime scene. We've heard from the air mail that I put up yesterday in November, what they said about how the place looked, the crime scene, the smell of blood, trigger warning. They spoke about each and everything. So 8 hours for not to have called the police. And then you summon up friends, multiple people. And I remember the airmail said that there were multiple people outside the crime scene who went inside. And they went up to the 3rd floor and witnessed Maddie and Kaylee dead, deceased. So this house was basically, not only was it a party house from the beginning, so this is me being mindful, I'm not being rude, but it's the truth. There were many people, these are college students, so this was a party house. There was a lot of evidence there from before. And then there was 3 male unidentified evidence that was found there. A glove outside and 2 other inside. Besides the knife sheath, that is not included. That is the main evidence they have basically. So if they're not turning over the 3 unidentified male DNA's results over, how is Ann Taylor supposed to defend her client? Is that the reason they got rid of the house? They got rid of the house because there was thousands and thousands of DNAs. I personally believe they didn't want to do the job right. It would cost them a lot of time and a lot of money. They just checked in CODIS what they could check and they let the rest be. I believe that is one of the reasons why people have been ruled out so quickly too. Not everyone's alibi was checked out because you can't rule out people so quickly, especially the partner of the victims. How come Jake wasn't looked at, or was he looked at? Maddie's partner. Was the partners of the surviving roommates looked at? Because allegedly Quincy was there that night and he was driving. I heard he was driving a light color, white car. They took pictures in front of the house. Dylan was out in town. So what was happening? Dylan put up her pictures and then she put it on private. How come Yasmin, Zana's sister, found out about it before the police? Kaylee's friend is fake crying. Hate to say that. That's what I personally believe, because this case is starting to really upset me. And most of us, because these 4 victims deserve justice, and they don't only deserve justice, they deserve the correct justice. I don't personally believe up to today that there was one person who did it. There were multiple of people who did it. I'm sure the people who were summoned up to the house could have been the ones who actually did it. What do we know? You usually see sometimes killers in a crime scene being the first people to ask, like, what's happened? What happened? Pretending that they did not know anything. And then later on we find out he was involved. And usually the one we suspect is the one who wasn't involved. If they had evidence that Brian Kohberger did this, they would have had more powerful evidence. You can picture, knife crimes are very intimate. So they're trying to say that Brian Christopher Kohberger took the chance of a house with 5 roommates. Zana's boyfriend was there. That makes it 6, may rest in peace. Then you have the dog. And then you have, this is a party house where always people are summoned up, multiple people. They're partying. Why would he take a chance? Why would he take a chance? What about the 4 to 5 figures running? Could they have been one of the 3 unidentified male DNAs? What about the 3 guys in Banfield? Everyone says they're innocent. They said they were in a party at Matt's house. That's what one said. The other 2 couldn't remember. Isn't that strange? And they pointed out towards Taylor Avenue. So I assume there's a guy, a student called Matt's, who had a party. I think that's important to know, to find out if they were telling the truth or if they were lying. Because if they are lying, then we know that they're not to be trusted with the whole story. But if they're telling the truth, we need to know if anyone went from Matt's party to their house. I think all these things are really important because there are so many things. The students know exactly what happened. I don't believe that the students did not know what happened. They know exactly what happened. That's why they were busy calling each other early in the morning. When they called each other, they all came, they saw each other, they spoke, they cried, mixed emotions, I don't know, whatever, planned it right in the crime scene. So you can imagine all those people who came in were carrying their own DNA. When they went out, they're carrying other people's DNA too. They're carrying DNA from the crime scene. So I don't understand. How come we keep on hearing that Dylan is a witness? She became a witness 7 weeks later. This is important. That's when the timeline changed, when the white Hyundai came in the picture. How could she be a witness? She should be a witness from the start. Where was she in the beginning? Was she sleeping in the first floor? Was she sleeping up in the second floor? Where was she sleeping? Dylan and Xana share a toilet. They share the living room and they share the whole second floor. If Dylan was sleeping upstairs, is that the reason? Could that be the reason Xana asked her father to fix her locks on her door? Was there a fight between Xana and Xana and Dylan? Was there a fight between Bethany and the other roommates? Because it seems to me like these roommates were busy texting each other. They had no care for the other 4 people. That means whoever, I personally believe, whoever did this knew Bethany and Dylan well. They told them, keep quiet, stay in your room, don't interfere. That's what I believe. Because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't take 8 hours to call the police. I don't care what people say. If I'm scared for my life, if I'm worried, the first people I will call is the police. Even if there was drugs in the house or something illegal and Dylan had to take it out or get someone to take it out, it wouldn't take that long. They couldn't be transporting ships of drugs, allegedly. I'm just trying to put out everything there and I'm being mindful, but I'm thinking like, what could have taken someone 8 hours to call the police? Frozen. She was in a frozen phase, a frozen mode. How long would he freeze? Wouldn't you finally get out of the frozen state? Before she was frozen, Dylan heard Xana crying, whimpering. She heard Kaylee playing with her dog, allegedly. She heard Kaylee or Xana, one of them saying, I think there's somebody here. She wasn't in a state of shock at that time. And I'm not going to be harsh on her about her parting now. Everyone has spoken about that. I try to avoid that. Because as a therapist, I know that moods can change. She could have got therapy. She could have moved on. She could be trying to get better. I'm not going to judge her for going out and partying. But I would rather judge her for not coming clean. Because there's something wrong with the story. There's something really wrong with the story. Why was the front door left open? Who came in or went out of the front door? The code is hardly activated. So that means people could come in and out of the house as they please. There's so much loopholes in this case. That it's like literally right in front of our face, but we can't do anything about the case. Because we can see right in front of our face that so many things don't make sense. Another thing that I wanted to speak about is, how come I've never heard anyone speaking about the GRUB truck live streams? What if a psychopath was watching it? What if somebody was falling and stalking Kaylee and Maddie through the live stream? Because then they would know when they went home. They would know what car they took. And what was up with Jovito's Coca-Cola can? Why was it flashing everywhere? Was the Coca-Cola can prepared for him? I don't believe in conspiracies, but you start wondering, because things that you see with your eyes are deceiving you. That's not how you hold a normal Coca-Cola can. That's impossible. He was shaking it like no man's business. And you can see David Lott and his two friends standing there, waiting for the girls to come in. And as soon as the girls and Jack Showalter walk in, he faces his back towards them so that they don't see that he's there. You could even see when David Lott comes to collect his food, you could see he's standing right opposite and watching Maddie. She sees him. Kaylee doesn't see him at once. And you could see Maddie's face froze. She's just looking at him. And I personally believe, I don't care what people say, something was put in Maddie's mouth. Number 9 knows exactly what was going on. So does Jovito. There's another thing I always wonder. Did Kaylee get to know somebody in Austin maybe? Could somebody in Austin have done this to her? Did Kaylee get to know someone? Because don't forget, Kaylee was searching for someone to share a room with her. She was searching for a neighbor, for a roommate. What if Kaylee was friendly enough and gave an address to the person? What if there's something going on there? And I really wonder what was said to Adam. Maddie, what did you tell Adam? I told Adam everything. Was it about money? Was it about love? Was it about drugs? Was it about revenge? It was something that wasn't supposed to have been said. Adam must have taken that back to Jack or to the person who wasn't supposed to hear this. Whatever happened, I always say, started from the corner club. It did start from the corner club. So now we are sitting here with the house demolished. That means all the evidence gone. I think the prosecution is fighting dirty. They should have respected the family, respected the victims, and let the crime scene alone. The crime scene was already played with. Let's not forget that from the beginning. These people were busy giving out things that could have been part of evidence up to today that we would never know. The children's stuff, they were giving it back, the victim's stuff to the parents. The only thing they have left behind is the golf club set that belongs to the Chapins, and 2 vehicles that belongs to the Chapins. Ethan and his family. So this is strange. And I believe that part, whatever they took of the Chapin family, I think that is part of evidence. They must have used the golf set, I hate to say that, because a sharp object, it wasn't the same murder weapon that was used on all 4 victims. I believe that. The couple had different injuries. And I wonder if Kaylee was the victim, since she got it most brutally and the most injuries, and the mayor said crime of passion, that just rings the bells of Jack D. and Jack Showalter. The double Jacks are always involved for me because everyone was cleared too soon. So I personally believe everyone needs to be unclear. Everyone needs to be reinvestigated properly. From Adam to Jake. Let's not forget the 4chan said that Rogan Jake, although people say it's not a right word to use, but that's not my word. That's what the 4chan post used. Is going to cry and do his part as a grieving boyfriend. So they all know about what was going on. That's what I believe. All of them knew exactly what was going on in Moscow, Idaho. I don't believe this was something that just happened instantly or that this is some plan that they came out with instantly. No. I think this was pre-planned. Which is in a couple of weeks or couple of months making. Whether it was Brian or whether it was other suspects who did it. I really believe this was planned. I believe it was the Greek, what's it called? The fraternities, the sororities who did it. Didn't Kaylee have a sorority party? Or could it have been Maddie, Xana, and Bethany were in the same sorority? Pi Beta Phi, I think, one of them. So did something happen? Did something, one of the girls, did they say something to the other? Did it go back to the sororities? Then you have the 4chan, that's the Sigma Chi fraternity boys, who said that when the lights go off, they'll go upstairs. We heard them speak about wet jobs and all that. And we saw the liquid, the red liquid, everywhere. This was a bloody crime scene. Blood was on the walls, Fox News said. So I wonder if someone's name was written on the wall. The police know exactly who the targets were, and the chief knows exactly what was the motive. Because I don't believe that one person did it. And I would really love to believe that it was Brian Christopher Koberger who did it, and he gets the right punishment, and we move on. But I don't see it that way. Because if Brian did it, evidence, DNA evidence of the victims would have carried on with him inside his car, inside his house, inside his office, inside his apartment. And they checked that all. They didn't find it. I've heard that on many, many media platforms, on news. So they don't have it. That's what Ann Taylor is saying, the defense attorney. I hope they find out soon. And I hope we find the correct people who did these horrific crimes and they pay. But things don't look good. I don't like the fact that they demolished the house because all the evidence. What if the jury wants to go back to the house? They can never go back to that house. They're too busy thinking about, oh, the new students, the enrollments. It's all about money. And the university is doing quite well. It was just the first year after the murders, the first semester, the enrolling went a bit too slow. Then later on, it started going up and up. It's like nothing happened. It's like these crimes never happened. The prince, sorry, not the prince, what's it called? The dean of the university and Scott, all of them want to actually, they have no problem of demolishing the crime scene which they did, because they just want the enrollments to continue. So when they were saying we want justice for these 4 victims, it's just a figure of speech. It's so sad. They didn't even respect the parents. They know they don't want the more DNAs to start coming out, because I believe, this is my personal opinion only, I believe that the students were involved. The students were involved. You can see all the movements going on in the GRUB truck. It could have been somebody on the live stream. It could have been anyone. But just because Brian Christopher Koberger was driving around those areas is not a good excuse. We need to see him entering the house with a knife in his hand. Then I would believe it. He could have been driving there for other purposes. He could have been called by one of the surviving roommates. He could have been called by the roommates themselves before something happened to them. Because the thing is, we don't know exactly when the roommates died. If you go according to the coroner, she said she pronounced the death after 2 a.m. But if you go according to the timelines that they change, then the death timing will come later. This is really sad. And I just don't believe that it was only 1 or 2 of the victims that were the targets. Absolutely not. I believe at least 3 to 4 victims were the target there. And that's the reason I followed the 4chan, because they have 3 targets that they mentioned. So we just have to wait. On the 25th, there's 2 sessions of the court. One is private and one is the one in the afternoon where there'll be the live stream. It will be on the YouTube channel. I believe Judge, what's his name? John Judge, is YouTube channel. And I think that